All right, what's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. How we feeling? Little late night. 2R on gold just hit TP. Nice, dude. So we were having dinner and Mike literally said, people took this. He's like, the OGs know, the syndicate, the legacy group knows to take this. So I'm glad that you did. I did not, unfortunately. We were eating, missed it. All right, guys, happy Wednesday. Happy and grateful to be here. These Wednesday sessions are taking a little bit of a pivot. Before we were doing crypto and stocks watch list, and we still want to keep that going, except that we also want to include or involve newer traders and make sure that all of their bases are covered as well. So the majority of this segment or the majority of this session is going to be towards beginners. The last part of this session is going to be a segment for what I'm going to call like a Wednesday watch list, which is going to be speed run style watch list of everything that I have my eyes on regarding stocks and cryptos. It's going to be majority stocks, just being real. And yeah, so let's see. Oh, also in terms of intention, I would love for these Wednesday sessions to be interactive. I want you guys to get involved. Is requesting to record this meeting. Sure. I would love for you guys to get involved, ask questions when they need to be asked. And also, I'm going to pick on you a little bit and I'm going to ask for people to show examples of certain things. I really want to make sure that everyone is grasping the information and that is being implemented, because a reason why I constantly go back to teaching basics is because I feel like there's a lot of, actually, I feel like it's a little bit of friction in the beginning of someone's journey that ends up stopping them from progressing. And it's simple stuff, not in a way that's demeaning to that person, but in a way that it's a simple solution that can be given. So I'm here in the hopes of giving those solutions so that we can move on to the good stuff. I want everyone to move on to the taking actual trades, consistently taking trades. Then it's a whole other ball game of, we'll call them challenges. But one thing at a time, right? Let's focus on this part first, build a solid foundation, have a foundation of concrete cement, not of sand. And that way we can just build up from there with confidence. Awesome. So if you don't know me, my name is Nancy Aguilera. I have been trading for 8 years now, which sounds pretty crazy. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a roller coaster. I've lost a lot. I've made a decent amount. I'm so grateful for trading because it led to my better style of investing, which is building portfolios. Like, I love that more. And the cool thing about that is that there's something here for everyone. If you have the time, the patience, and the desire to actively trade every day, also. Then inside of there's different styles of trading also. You can be a position trader, you could be a swing trader, you could be a scalper. So that's going to be a lesson all on its own, actually. But when it comes to investing, that's going to be for people that maybe don't have the time to block off 2 hours a day, or to be constantly checking their phone, or that don't want to mess with the frustration of, oh, I missed another one. I get it. People are busy. There are people here that are parents. There are people here that are working multiple jobs. And I'm not here to say that you need to miss out on the entirety of the markets. You don't. Just find a style that works for you. If that's trading, awesome, more power to you. If that's investing, I think everyone should be investing. I don't think everyone should be trading, but I do think everyone should be investing. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to talk a little bit about the platforms that we're going to use the most, which is going to be TradingView. Like, I'm starting from the basics here. Eventually, I'm going to just build out a repertoire of like a playlist of like, look, if your tia, if your cousin from the Boondocks chooses to get into trading, you can send them this playlist and be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way till Z, and then they'll be into the next phase. But we're starting from square one. So If you don't already have TradingView, then let's go to tradingview.com and let me share my screen here so that we're all on the same page. Decline, thank you. Yeah. All right, so everyone open up TradingView. A few things to go over here. There's not going to be too much interaction today. If you want to unmute yourself or ask a question, by all means. But in just saying, in the future, there is going to be me calling up people to come up to the board and show their work. Okay, so a few things when it comes to TradingView. TradingView, what is it? It is a platform that shows you data. And it shows you data of everything under the sun that can be traded. It shows you price, it shows you time. And not only that, but there's multiple sources of that data. So first things first, I'm the type of person that if I don't have to make a profile or an account for something, I won't make it. Like you have to force me to make it because my email is just, it's ridiculous, right? This is one of those things where I do think make the profile. It's worth it. It's a free plan. What it does is it saves your work so you don't have to start from scratch every time you come onto a chart. Cool? Cool. So you have your profile here. First thing on the right of your profile is going to be the asset. So this is called a ticker. A ticker is an abbreviation of what you're looking at. In this case, I was looking at, little spoiler alert, this company called Hims. You might have heard of it. It is a supplement company for men, and it's at a really cool spot. So you can take a look at that. I will be providing score sheets and sharing that in the syndicate group, but I will be going over the watch list at the end of the session. Okay, so we have the asset here with its ticker. Remember, ticker is abbreviation. And then on the left-hand side, we have tools. These drawing tools are going to come in clutch because what is the reason that we're trading in the first place? Because we perceive an opportunity, right? Would you trade something if you don't perceive an opportunity? Probably not. It's kind of like setting money on fire. But how do we perceive an opportunity? We do something that's called technical analysis. Technical analysis is assessing or analyzing a chart or the technicals. And that is made up by price and time. Those are the two axes, x-axis, y-axis. Don't got to overcomplicate it too much. Let's focus on the tools because like I said, we're going to use them. This is something that I learned my first week probably of trading 8 years ago. I use it every single day, Monday through Friday, sometimes Sunday through Friday. Okay, so first one, we have the cross, a dot, an arrow, this, that. Just leave it at the cross. The cross is the crosshair. It's easy to pinpoint vertical and horizontal lines, mostly the horizontal lines for like support resistance, which you'll learn later on. We perceive that as liquidity. So we're going to take it slow. The next one, and they have like these little arrows, the tiny little arrows. The next one is a bunch of lines. The one that I use the most is going to be the trend line. And it's might not be in the way that you think it. I perceive trend lines as liquidity, not as opportunity. It's not to say that you can't make money trading trend lines. I know people that do for sure. Like I mentioned in the beginning of this is you come to trading or you come into the trading space, you're going to learn about yourself more than anything. And it's best that you do that early on. Figure out who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what makes sense to you and what doesn't. The sooner that you do that, the sooner you filter out things that don't align. And I mean that even to, for example, myself. If you say, hey, I don't align with this chick, she doesn't make sense, or I don't like her teaching style, that's fine. Find someone that you do like. And I mean that with my wholehearted intention. That is so important because if what I'm saying is going in one ear and out the other, do you think you're going to grasp anything? No. So the important thing here is that things are understood and implemented. Cool. So trend line, you see this little star here at the side? If you want to create a little favorites bar, you can just star this, and then you will have this tiny little bar that you can move anywhere on the screen. And this becomes particularly helpful if you have like one of those giant monitors. I don't know if you can see over here like Mike does, but that way you don't have to go all the way to the left and you can have it just be anywhere that you want. So trendline, I think, should be favorited. Honestly, I think that's the only one. Moving on. Then we have the fib retracement tool. For the sake of this video, I think you should favorite the fib retracement tool. Not everyone uses it, but I think you should learn about it, whether it be for your entries or your exits. That's getting into a little bit more advanced stuff, but we will go over that in the upcoming weeks. Don't need anything here. In my 8 years of trading, I have gone through different strategies. Like my first year was trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. I was trying everything. I was like just homing hopping around. And the reason being is because I needed to figure out myself what I like, what I don't like, what makes sense to me, and what doesn't. So I tried the whole Elliott wave thing. I do think I have a decent grasp on it, but it doesn't necessarily seem too relevant to me. I can live without it. Another thing too, when building like your trading plan, which again, we'll get into later, is simple is better. Less is more. Maybe I just work that way and the people that I surround myself work that way. But I do believe that having one or two strategies is all you need. The more boring your trading is, the more exciting your life is going to be, because doing the boring work actually leads to more consistent results as opposed to changing up your strategy every other week, not having consistency. Imagine if you did that with your diets, with your eating, your gym routines, your anything, honestly. Like we need a little bit of consistency. It's not necessarily monotonous. It's just your brain likes consistency. On a neuroscience level, we like cohesion. Okay, enough of that. Anyway, these don't matter to me. They might to you, they don't to me. Okay, next one is the projection tools. Long and short, I would favorite these as well. And these are going to be the visual representations of the positions that you want to take. So if you're looking for a buy, which one of these tools would you use? I'm going to let you make sure you're awake and answer in the chat while I drink some water. Easy enough. If you're looking for a buy, that's called a long position. So you would use this guy right here, and it looks like this. Mine is this pink and gray color, just because you get to customize your chart however you want. If you hopped on Mike's sessions, you might see his have just a black and white canvas. If you look at videos of trading online or like those Pinterest pictures, like everyone's got different colors because this is a customizable canvas. So it makes it more fun that way. So the pink for me represents loss. The gray area for me represents profit. So if I wanted to go up as a long or a buy, it goes in the upward direction, and that's represented here. Real quick, we'll have an entire session on this alone in the upcoming weeks, but real quick, from my experience, you want, in this case, the gray to be bigger than the red. And that is just math. That's just a formula. So we'll get into that later. But in the event that you leave this session and you start trading, or you open up a demo account or what have you, my sneeze left. I just want to make sure that what you're looking for profit is bigger than your risk in order to have a profitable plan. So again, we'll get into that with the actual science of it later, but just make sure that you write that down. Now, for a short, what kind of position are you looking for? The opposite, right? We're looking for sells. So in this case, my red box or my pink box is at the top, and that is my stop loss. And then the clear box is at the bottom, and that's my profit or my potential profit. This is all potential until we get in and the results show up, right? Same thing. I wouldn't want to have a position like this. Long story short, it's not worth it. And you need to be extremely have like a 99% win rate in order for this to be anywhere near profitable. So we want our gray zone to be bigger than our red zone or pink, whatever you want to call this. So I would favorite these as well for the same reason. That way they're just easily accessible. And get used to these. Get used to seeing them. Let's see if I can zoom in here. Yes. So do you see these little dotted lines? That's the direction in which you want it to go. So I know that they look very similar, especially when everything is so compact in your little toolbox. The dotted lines is where you want price to go. So the one on the left is the long position, and the one on the right is the short position on my screen. If you favorited it in a different order, then it might show up opposite. But that's what these little dotted lines are for. Just wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. All right, next one that we have are these brushes and etc. So the brushes are cool because maybe you want to highlight on this screen like, okay, what am I looking at? I'm looking at this zone. Then you can delete it later. One thing to know is that once you have the brush, it stays on there until you go back to the crosshair. Easy enough. Highlighter, same thing. Maybe you want to highlight the high of the recent cycle or what have you. I don't necessarily have it in my toolbox because I don't use it that often. Something that I would consider having in a toolbox would be maybe the arrow. And you can come up for different use cases for the arrow. It's good to, whoop, where's my arrow? It's good to pinpoint and show on the screen what you're looking at. It's also good to have for certain levels. For example, I can pinpoint that this is, why don't you want to work? That this is the previous low and then expand it over to the right. You can use something like that. You can also double click on these, by the way, and add text. And I can say local low or recent low. If you are, we're going to learn about market structure in the upcoming weeks, then you can pinpoint them as lower low, higher high, etc. What would be another use case for this? Oh, also in the upcoming weeks, we'll be learning about breaks of structure and change of characters. So that would be another use case that you can use the arrow for. So if you want to highlight that or star it, it doesn't hurt. And then the one that I probably use the most is the rectangle. So if you were to look at my trading at any given time, it would look exactly like this. I would come onto a chart and I would pinpoint where I want to put this rectangle. Sorry guys, I have a Band-Aid inconveniently located on my middle finger, which I use for the mouse track. All right. Okay. So at any given time, I usually just come onto my screen, and the way that nowadays I do my analysis is as easy as one thing on my screen. And it'll just look something like this. So if you're brand new and you see a screen with only one rectangle on there, you might not know what I'm looking for. Am I looking to buy there? Am I looking to sell there? Is that just some random rectangle? Is it a key level? It could be anything, right? To me, it's called a point of interest. So if you do want to star this or favorite it, and you can double click it, now I can add some text. Put this in white, make it pop a little bit more. So another thing worth mentioning in case I forget later is clean charts. That is just good technical analysis hygiene, right? We don't want all these different type of indicators or even your own markings from the past, we like to clean them up every now and then, whether it be once a week, once a month, whenever you remember, but clean them up as often as you can, because what those drawings or tool markings can do later on is create something that's called confirmation bias. And I'll give you an example. Let's go back to this, and I'm going to close my eyes and I'm just going to put it somewhere on the screen. Awesome. So now I have a random line on my screen, right? And let's pretend that we just came onto this chart and we're like, oh, well, this line is here. Your brain, it's called confirmation bias. Your brain starts to put pieces together as to why that line is there. So now it says, oh, that line is here is because it came here and rejected. And then it came over, and then it came back over here and rejected to the south side. And it came back over here and it kept on rejecting multiple times. That kind of makes sense, right? But I swear to you, it was just a random line that I put on there. So it's good hygiene to just clean things up, right click, remove drawings, clean things up so that your brain doesn't have anything to have confirmation bias with, and you're coming from an unbiased perspective. You're not looking or you're not forcing anything to happen. You're not trying to make things fit that don't actually. It's just you and price action, neutral. Make sense? Let's see here. I started doing that for London lows. Lows are high, so helpful. Yeah. Okay, great. All right, what else do we have on here? I used to use the ellipse. I don't really anymore. And I would just use it to highlight, for example, let's say that I wanted to put it here. And let's say that I was highlighting the order block. If you don't know what that means, you'll learn later, but you could pinpoint specific candles or areas, chunks of candles if you wanted to with the ellipse. I skipped one, and that is the path. The path is really cool while you're learning, and actually I would like you to favorite it up until we have our market structure lesson. And the reason being is because it's really easy to draw market structure. So that day, I will probably ask you to draw a bullish structure and a bearish one. So this is a good one to just practice on your own. If things are unclear as to what the structure is and you already know about market structure, then you can use this tool also to help you. And it just kind of makes it a little bit clearer. While we're talking about lines like that, on the 1, 2, 3, 4th button from the ticker, we have the little drawing for candles. If you click on that, you'll see that you have other options of different ways of viewing the chart. So we can do hollow candles, which just means that one of them is hollow. I hope I don't have to color them again. We can do, no, I can't do volume candles actually. We can do a line chart, which looks like a, what's that machine that your heart rate is on? I don't know what it's called, but a line chart doesn't give you the detail of the same detail that the candles do, but sometimes to some people it's less overwhelming and it looks more clean in terms of structure, especially, and also in terms of white golf, which we'll learn down the line. So if you're ever a little bit too overwhelmed with structure, you can come back to switch it over to a line chart and then just switch it over to a candle chart once you're done. All right. Underneath that, we have some annotation tools. I would highlight either the text or the anchored text. The difference between these two is that the text, no, that's not a great example. 1 second. Let's make this nice and bright. And you know what? Let's actually type something on here. Because the anchor text is great. Hey, there we go. The anchor text is great for your trading plan. Notice how as I'm moving the chart, the first text moves around. So if we keep on moving and candles keep on printing, or especially when we're in smaller time frames, that's going to get lost. However, the anchor text stays anchored. And I put the trading plan there because it's great specifically for that. If you don't know your trading plan, that's going to be your biggest assignment, is getting down to a trading plan. And a trading plan isn't just the entry strategy. You will hear me repeat this time and time again. A lot of times people think that trading is just knowing when to get in. That is a fraction of it. You need to know when to get in, when to get out, and what to do in the meantime. Like when price isn't going the way that you thought it would, or when it is and you get a little bit excited and you kind of want to press different buttons. Your trading plan is going to keep you, funny enough, anchored to what you've learned and help you with that consistency for longevity. Okay, cool. So I definitely recommend highlighting or favoriting the anchor text and putting trading plan. Even if you don't have one yet, then at least you'll know, hey, I need to remember to make one later when I'm ready. And we will have a session, if not multiple, on how to create a trading plan, because everyone's different. We got different personalities, different risk assessments, a whole bunch of things. So another cool thing about trading is like you build this for you, a la carte, your style. What do we have on here anyway? For example, Brandon's trading plan is probably going to be completely different than Elizabeth's. And Elizabeth's trading plan is probably going to be completely different than Mr. Weaver's, than Paula's, than Sophia's, than Rosie's, than Taylor's, than Tai Tai's, right? We can all have completely different trading plans, or we can have very similar trading plans, but maybe there's just some key tweaks or differences. I'll give you an example. Mike has been my main mentor since I got started. 8 years ago, I followed him. I mentioned that in my first year, I was trying a bunch of different things because, you know, a girl's gotta try. But ever since it made sense, I was just like, yes, this is it. And that's all I need. And it's true. However, there are certain small tweaks in my trading plan that are different than his. And that's just because over time, I've learned what works for me. So yes, we'll do a session on that. Okay, what else we got? We got some stickers on here. These can be used for annotating market structure, higher highs, higher lows. I'll do a quick little tutorial on how to do that. Do what you want. If you want to have little hearts on there, if you want to have smiley faces on there, do what you want. I find these vacant arrows, whatever these are, extremely helpful. So let's see. This is a higher high than this. So I'm just going to annotate it as such, but this is a lower high. So you can use that for this. You can use it for the change of characters, however you want to use it. You can use the little dots, whatever your heart desires. But if they're helpful, because a lot of people are visual people, use your resources. All right, and then we have the ruler. Ruler is going to come in clutch because it lets you measure the percentage in drops. For example, I can tell you that since October 14th, HIMS has dropped 55.6%. Math is not my strong suit. So it would take me a minute to figure that out on my own. And this is why we like tools, because it makes it so easy for you to see the change in price in either direction. Not only that, but it also shows you the pips or ticks or points. The reason why I said those 3 different words is because that is those are the units of measurement in which you measure differences in price. So what I mean is compare it to an inch, a yard, etc. That's how we measure price. We can't just say cents or dollars because not everyone works with cents and dollars. So ticks, points, and pips are going to be what we work with. So you can count it that way. This is 26. Well, this is $26.93 difference, which I believe, I don't think that's points. I think it's 2,600 points or a 93% increase. So super helpful. It even counts the bars, the candlesticks, and the days in this case. So we're on the daily time frame. If I wanted to say, hey, Corey, can you go 19 candles backwards to see what the price was like? He could count the candles individually, but that would just kind of be silly. What we can also do is just count or move this 19 candles and be like, cool, this was the price. While we're speaking of prices, let's segue, just because I don't want to forget, let's segue over here to the status bar. So the status bar is telling us, in this case, it's a stock. So it's the company name, Him and Hers Health Incorporated, the time frame, the source of the information. This just means that it's on my watch list. And then this is going to tell me if the market is opened or not. Since it's a stock, the New York Stock Exchange is currently closed. It is 8 p.m. in Chicago, 9:30 p.m. in New York, currently closed. And then we have OHLC. Any guesses what those mean? O, and then a number, H, another number, L, another number, and C. And if I move my mouse, those numbers change. So let me know. Yep. C, I'm not sure. C is the close. Yeah, you guys got it. So we have the open, the high, the low, and the close. Oh, you're so funny. You see, you learn something new every day. So remember, we have this crosshair. So we can move it anywhere, and those numbers are just going wild. So let's say that I wanted to see, oh, what happened here? It seemed like it was a big movement. So I could just hover over that candle with my cross arrow. And instead of zooming in and trying to figure out like the price like this, we could just hover over, and I know that the open of that day, it opened at 55.30. It went all the way to 65.30 that same day. Same company, same day, went $10 difference, which in points I believe is, I think 1,000. The low of the day was 54.44, and then it closed at 62.76. So those are actually the components of what makes a candle: the low, the open, the high, and the close. No particular order, because I don't know if it's a bullish candle or bearish candle, but that's like the anatomy of what makes a candle. Let me know in the chat if somebody here doesn't know how candlesticks work. That way I just make sure that nobody's getting left behind. Will you be dropping the recording? This is great. I feel like I'll have to rewatch it more. Yeah, absolutely. Holding the click button will show you the same info that out like a week ago. Found that out like an info. Oh, word. Cool. And then the bottom side of the status bar is going to be these buttons, and you can actually take these off if you want. And you can literally, like, trading can be as easy as pressing this button or pressing this button. I don't have my paper trading, my demo account set up on here, but we'll do that on another session. Okay, just a few more things here. Then we have this magnet. This magnet magnetizes to, how do I explain this? Okay, so I'm gonna use this line over here, and I have the magnet. So you see how it's kind of getting a little jumpy? It magnetizes to the closest higher low. So if I go down and want to put my line right there, I don't have to go and make sure that I got the tippy top of here. Actually, that's a bad example. Let's do that again. So we're working with the same high over here, right? And let's say I want to pin the high. Well, instead of having to zoom in, the magnet's there, so it pinned the high for me. And then we have a strong magnet. Let's do the same thing. See how kind of jumpy it is? There we go. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Just saves you a couple seconds of zooming in and wanting to be really precise. Then we have this little key lock, we'll call it. And that basically means continue using the same tool. So instead of having to go back over here or to your toolbox to use the same tool, I can just have it keep drawing. It's supposed to be having it keep drawing. Oh, there we go. So now I could just place multiple without having to click this every single time to use it. So that is pretty useful. I don't use it a whole lot, to be honest, but it might come more in handy in the beginning. All right, so now what are we gonna do? We're gonna right click, remove my drawings, clean slate. What else we got over here? All right, so I think we stopped here. Okay, so now we're back to, I actually don't know what you call this. This is a status bar. This, I don't actually know the name of this. That's okay. We have the candlesticks, or the different chart layouts, I should say. Then we have indicators. Indicators are what a lot of people use to be told more information. Think of it as like the prehistoric AI for charts. And you can come on here and you can search different indicators like editors picks, trending, etc. My 2 cents on this topic is don't. There's no need to go shopping for indicators because, one, you currently don't know what they do. So is it going to be very useful for you? Probably not. If I were to be starting all over today, knowing absolutely nothing, my brain is wiped, I don't know Mike, etc., what I would do is watch one or two people consistently and pick up as much information from them as I possibly could. And I'm not just saying that so that you guys continue to watch us. No, it could be anyone. Reason being is if you watch, let's say, 23 different trading channels on YouTube, you're going to be a little bit scattered because there's no cohesion as to what they're telling you. When it comes to strategy, when it comes to basics, yes, you can watch a how to use TradingView video, and they're probably going to give you the same gist of information. But when it comes to a strategy, this person's telling you to use Elliott waves, another person is telling you to use Bollinger Bands, another person is telling you to use RSI, another person is telling you to use smart money. Now you have this cluster of a mess and you don't know what's happening. And you don't know why you're using those to begin with anyway, other than so-and-so told me. So if I were to be starting from scratch, not knowing anything or anyone today, I would just stake with one or two people, learn my foundation with them, learn the strategy, or be in the process minimum of learning the strategy if it makes sense, or excuse me, it makes sense enough where you how do I say this? There's going to be a learning curve regardless, right? But there's a difference between something just not getting grasped at all and you being like, okay, don't completely understand, but I follow, right? There's like a little bit of a difference there, and you might know that. You might feel that. Yeah, I would keep on going and then like give it an honest go. And if you use that same strategy or you learn for a consistent period of time, or let me correct myself, a consistent period of repetitions, then you have the right to say, this doesn't work for me. Let me try something else. But you have to give it an honest go. What happens a lot of the time is that people quit a week in, or people quit after they tried a strategy for 4 trades. That is not a big enough sample size to get any type of data. Like, let's put this in a different context. Imagine if the medical field were to just try medicine on 4 people or for 4 weeks. Like, that, no, that's not good. So we have to give it enough context. We have to have enough information so that we can get some type of theory that's backed by data, not by your feelings, not by frustration, data. Cool. So my recommendation is let's ignore the indicator section for now. We can come back to it later. You can add a thing or two later, and I would keep it at that. I haven't used an indicator probably since 2019. I don't think that there's a need for them. Maybe like the sessions are cool. I went back to try to use an indicator, but I realized I just didn't need it. I just wanted something on my screen. So if you want it for the aesthetics, cool, do what you want. But I do think that this has the potential to confuse you more than help you. Yeah, session highs and lows are great. Perfect. Okay. It'd be nice to touch base on breakdown of the wicks on candles. Oh, sure. Okay, so let's zoom into, so let's go back to our conversation about candlesticks. Chill out here, buddy. And okay, so I'm on a big time frame. We're on the daily time frame, right? There's a lot of information on here, like weeks worth, actually months worth of information on here, because you have to remember every candlestick on the daily time frame represents 1 day of information. If we change this to the 4-hour time frame, now every candlestick represents 4 hours of information. So there's 24 hours in a day. That means there's 8 candles on the 4-hour time frame. No, that's not right. There's 6 candles on the 4-hour time frame that would make up 1 candle on the daily time frame. Yeah, I could have picked a better example, but we made it happen. Okay, so let's just zoom in. And another thing, sorry, these ideas are just coming to me. Worth noting is please don't have your charts like this. If you can't differentiate where the candle starts or ends, and it all just kind of looks like a line chart, you're too zoomed in. Let's give our candles enough space to breathe, but more importantly, let's give our eyes a break so that we can actually stand a chance viewing the information that's on the chart. Okay, so I'm going to use my handy dandy ellipse tool to highlight the candle that we will be looking at. So we're looking at that guy right there. And I'm going to use my arrow tool to show you where this candle started and where it went and where it closed. So those are 3 different things, right? Let's just zoom in more so you guys can see. Let's do, yes. Do another one. Open. Where it traveled the low, where it traveled the high. Why do we need to know that it traveled there? Like, why not just have a candle or a rectangle that has the open and the close? So the reason why wicks exist, wicks are the line. Remember, we're looking at these like candlesticks. So should have brought props here. But if you have a candle, what are they called? There's a certain name for them. Anyway, the long skinny candles, and then there's a wick inside that lights the flame, right? The little thin yarn looking thing. Wicks here represent where price has traveled. The reason why it matters, because remember, there are different time frames. So while I'm on the 4-hour time frame, if it just showed me where it opened and closed, then I wouldn't think to even go to a lower time frame and see more detail. But if I see more detail on a lower time frame, let's go to the 1 hour now. Now I see, okay, well, this is made up of multiple candles, of course. Remember, it closed here, but this one closed here. If it only showed the open and the close, then I wouldn't even think to go to a smaller time frame. Think of that wick as being footsteps, because we are Nancy Drew, we're detectives, and we're looking for clues so that we can come up with a conclusion as to, are we going to get into a position or not? And if so, why? Right? We have to create like probable cause for a position. Okay. Yeah, so wicks are really helpful as to just knowing where did this price travel during that time frame, and then you can go down to smaller time frames to see the detail. So if you're taking notes, and I hope that you are, write this down. Big time frames give you direction. Small time frames give you precision. Or you can write it down like big time frames give you direction, small time frames give you detail. I think that's a little bit catchier. And we will go over time frames on another session because we got to wrap up here. Okay, hope that helps. We're not going to go over types of candles because frankly, I don't think it's necessary. I once memorized like 27 different types of candles. Do I use that information today? No. Maybe doji. Doji is a good one. Doji just means it's a really small candle. Like this guy right here on the left. He's a doji. He's really small and didn't really go anywhere. And you just might hear that word come up, but is it important? No, not really. I'm trying to save you guys mental bandwidth, okay? All right, what else we got over here? After indicators, save your mental bandwidth on that for now. Indicator templates, don't need that. Alerts. So if you have the free version of TradingView, I believe, do you get 20? Do you know how many alerts you get on the free version? Maybe just
10 if any.
Okay, you might just only get a few on the free version. The basic plan, I believe, is $15 a month or 100 something bucks a year. There's usually 2 big sales a year for TradingView. That's going to be the 4th of July and Black Friday. Since we're so early in the year, I don't necessarily recommend waiting until Black Friday because they are really helpful. So if times are tight, then the free version is totally fine. But if you can do the $15 a month, you're going to use it for alerts. Basically, dude, if you were a fly on the wall in our apartment, alerts go off all day. And they just alert you of different key prices that are being triggered in the market without you having to be stuck to your computer, because sitting is the new smoking and we don't want to be sedative. Okay. We want to be out and about living our lives. Cool. Premium is so clutch. Absolutely. Still a lot of value in the free version if you're just starting. Absolutely, for sure. Okay. Okay, so alerts, really helpful. Someone figure out for me, please, how many you get in the free version. I believe it's either 2 or 10. And I believe the $15 a month gives you 20. And 20, I feel like, is enough. You don't need whatever plan Mike has that he has over 2,000 alerts. You don't need that. But something that you do get on the $15 a month plan is the replay tool. So this, if you're barely starting off, you probably don't need it. But once you're in motion and like you learned about the basics, you got that down, now you're just kind of like refining your strategy. The bar replay tool is really cool because where do we go here? You can actually delete part of, oh, I guess I already clicked it. Where did I go? I don't know how I got there. Oh, I went to my last one. Okay, cool. Now it changed me to the weekly. My bad. Where was my drawings? I actually have no idea where my drawings were. I wasn't paying attention. Anyway, you can actually delete part of the chart. No, there we go. So bar replay tool allows you to delete part of the chart. And that's really helpful when it comes to back testing. And like I mentioned, when you're refining your strategy, just making sure that things add up, that you have evidence to back it without needing new price action, because that could be kind of limiting when it like regarding that. So not necessary if you're just starting off. Later down the road, it'll be a bridge that we can cross when we get there. Oh, and then it lets you like play out the candles so you see what ends up happening. So really cool feature. Again, don't need it, but great plus. Okay, we have some other tools over there. I think in the free one you only get one screen. And the basic one, I think I only have the $15 a month one. You get two. Is it a need when you're getting started? No. Again, it's great regarding nuances down the road. So once you're more intermediate and advanced, for example, correlation between assets, when gold is going up, silver also tends to go up. So maybe you want to have a side by side of them both. Yeah, that's cool, but don't need it. Then we have our settings. This is the fun stuff. Probably should have started here, but whatever. We have the colors of your charts. So go crazy, make your custom chart. That's going to be your homework for today. Make your custom chart, make it the colors that you want. I used to do like a seasonal thing where in the summer, it's like a nice bright color. In the winter, they tend to be darker. Valentine's Day, maybe you make it pink and red. I don't know. Whatever just helps you focus. It is kind of cool because as you evolve, your charts evolve and they change. And then you get to go back into your trading journal and you'll see the screenshots and you'll see that the different colors, and it almost reminds you of different times in your trading career. So whenever I see like a chart that's like baby blue, it's like, oh, that was 2024. And I don't know, it's kind of nostalgic. It's kind of like when you listen to a song and it just takes you somewhere. Anyway, that's just me. Our status line, I like to have, actually, I don't care for the logo. I like to have the title, the chart values. That's basically it. Scales and lines. I don't really have anything on here. Oh, your date. Make sure that that's, what is that? Oh, okay. Make sure that you have it in a way that you understand it. I know that in the States, we're a little bit different than everyone else. So maybe everyone else wants to just have it numerically with the day first, then month, then year. Or if you want to do month, year, then date, choose however you want. Hour format, if you're in the military, maybe you want to do, or from Argentina, maybe you want to do the 24-hour clock. I used to have it that way, and then I just got out of the habit of it. 12 hours if for everyone else, basically. Your canvas is going to be your background. So there's a solid background. There's also a gradient background. So if you want to have fun with that, just switch it up every now and then. Feel free to do so. Let's see. Whoa. See what this will. No, I'm just gonna regret that. I'm gonna go back to solid. Grid lines. I don't like to have grid lines on mine for the same reason that I like just as clean as possible is basically my thing. Keep it super simple. If you like to have the grid lines in your background, have at it, but I do feel like it does that confirmation bias thing from before where your brain starts looking for it to hit a certain line that's just there because of time and dates, stuff like that. So to each their own. Your text, if you have dark mode, then remember to put your text in a lighter color and vice versa. Speaking of dark mode, actually, if we come out of here and go to our little profile pic over here, this is where you can turn the entire thing dark as opposed to just the canvas part, right? So the dark green, I think it's supposed to be, canvas is just the chart part. But if I wanted to go dark mode on my entire trading view, like have this all be dark, then I would just put dark theme here. Okay, so if you aren't going to be demo trading, then you can take off the buy and sell buttons. Like if you already have a Trade account or wherever you're trading, then you don't have to have those there. If you are in the beginning of your trading career, then I would just leave the buy and sell button there. Execution sound, you can have fun with this, whatever alarm or whatever noise that you want, a little chirpy. And let's see. Yeah, let's leave everything like that as they are. For the sake of your household, have your alerts not be that loud because we used to have the loudest, most obnoxious alerts go off 17 times a day, minimum. Don't be that guy. You're gonna get annoyed of it. Everyone else is gonna get annoyed of it. Just bring your volume a little bit down. You're gonna be okay. And then events, I don't really do anything with that. So we can leave that as is. Something that you are going to use eventually, if not this week, then down the road, is going to be this little snapshot. So if we click on the snapshot, it has options. You can download your chart as an image. You can copy the image without downloading it. You can copy the link to this chart and it'll freeze it as is. Or you can open a new tab, or you can tweet it. The one that I use the most is copy link because then I get to paste the URL in my journal because I have a digital trading journal. So I paste that there. Or if it's easier for you to just look at the image, then just copy the image and paste. Cool. Last thing here, I think, is the publish button. You already have an account, or you should. Publish button is going to be really helpful, and I highly encourage everyone to publish their trades. One, it's going to get you outside your comfort zone because I don't know if you knew this, but TradingView is its own little like social media network where any trader can look at other traders' published ideas. So it's kind of cool, kind of nerdy, but one, it gets you outside your comfort zone because you know that other people can view your idea. If you really don't want to, you can publish it on private, almost like unlisted. Only you can see it. I encourage you to get outside your comfort zone. Learn a little bit, expand a little bit. Nobody's going to judge you. Nobody knows who you are. And we don't follow each other on TradingView. So it's okay. You can also record your idea. So for learning purposes, this is so cool. For learning purposes, I wish I would have documented more in the beginning of my career. Because you could just go back 8 years from now and be like, oh my gosh, I have changed so much. And it's a beautiful thing. It truly is underrated. It's not cheesy. It's awesome. So let's go into publish. And let's just say blah, 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 blah. and blah, 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 and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. People are going to think I'm being a goon. But you go here, and then you press continue, and then it's going to ask you, do you want it public or private? I always put analysis, and then is this for a long or a short or educational purposes only? It asks, like, you're kind of forced to choose a category. I always just put trend analysis because I don't know what else to put. And then I swear to abide this, you have to click on this, and then you can publish your idea. I'm not going to do that because I didn't really type anything, but it's cool. So I definitely wish I would have gotten into the habit of doing that sooner. I'm still not entirely in the habit of doing it just because I didn't get in the habit, but it's something that I've consciously made the choice to be better at because I think it's useful. Then I have other people commenting on my trade ideas thinking like, I'm going to take this too. And it's just cool. And it takes 30 seconds of your time. So if you don't already have a trading journal, that in itself can be your trading journal. It's less customizable, but it's still really helpful. All right, guys, we have crossed over the hour. So we're going to segue into a speed round